welcome to my channel. My name is Temtokwe. If this is your first time here, thank you for stopping by, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for checking in again. Today we are going to be making a wide leg palazzo trouser with an elastic band waist and a side pocket. So if this is what you're interested in knowing how to make, you want to continue watching this video. Do not forget to like this video, give your comments, and also subscribe to this channel if you are yet to do so. You also want to turn on your notification bell so that you'll be the first to get notified each time I upload a new video. This is the fabric I'm going to be using to make this palazzo trouser. This is a flowered silk and I have 2 yards here. So the first time I'm going to be doing is to fold this fabric into 2. And I'm going to be using my hip measurement to fold it. So I divide my hip measurement by 4. My hip measurement is 37 divided by 4. That will give me about 9¼ So I approximate it to 9½. Then I'll be adding 4 inches extra. So that means I'm going to be folding this fabric to be 13½ inches. So the length of my trouser is 39 inches. But I can see that this trouser has a pattern at the lower part. So I want that part to be at the lower part. So that means I'm going to start my measurement from the lower part. So I'm going to be adding 4 inches to my trouser measurement. That is, I'm going to be marking out 43 inches instead of 39 inches. So don't mind the fact that my camera didn't capture that part. I'm just marking the trouser length, which is 43 inches. And I'm going to be drawing a straight line across it. So this is the starting line of the trouser. So the 4 inches that I added extra, this is what I'm going to be doing with it. So I'm going to mark 2 inches here. And this is going to start as the elastic allowance, like where I'm going to be folding for the elastic band. Then the remaining 2 inches, I'm going to be using it to hem the trouser. So these 2 inches, I'm going to be folding it and I'm going to be passing the elastic band through it. Then the remaining 2 inches, I'm going to be using it to hem the trouser. So I'm going to be folding that too at the trouser hem. So this palazzo is not going to be a straight palazzo. It's going to be a wide leg palazzo. So to do this, I'm going to be taking 1 inch on the side. This 1 inch, we are just going to keep it aside for now. So we are going to be using it for the wideness of the palazzo. But for now, we are just going to keep it aside. So I'm just going to mark 1 inch to the hem line. And then I'm going to rule a line across it. So this is not going to be the starting line. This second line is going to be the starting line. And here I'm going to be taking the measurements from the line that I marked. So from the starting line, I'm going to be marking my waist to hip measurement. So the waist to hip measurement is 9½. So I'm going to mark that. Then I'm also going to be taking my crotch depth measurement. So my crotch measurement is 10½. But because this is a palazzo, I'm going to be adding 1 inch to it. So I'm going to be marking 11½. So I'm just going to draw a straight line across this point. How I got my crotch depth is I sit on a flat surface chair, like a wooden chair. And then I measured from my waistline to the top of the chair. So I make sure that I am sitting up straight. So that's how I got my crotch depth. So I'm going to display it here on the screen so that you can see what it looks like. And if you cannot do that, you can divide your hip measurement into 4 and then you add 1 inch to it. So you can get your crotch depth that way also. So this is the starting line, this is the hip line, and this is the crotch line. So now what we are going to be doing is on the hip line, we are going to be taking the hip measurement. So I'm going to divide the hip measurement into 4 and I'm going to place my tape there. You can see that I'm not placing at the start of the fabric, but I'm placing at that 1 inch mark where I have the chalk. So my hip divided by 4 is 9¼ So I'm going to mark it there. Then on the crotch line, I'm going to mark it also, and I'm also going to mark it on the waistline. So now I'm going to use my rule now and connect these lines together. So please don't mind that my chalk is not showing very well, but when you follow what I'm saying, you'll be able to get it. So at this angle here, I'm going to be getting on the crotch line, I'm going to be getting the crotch depth, crotch extension. So to get the crotch extension, what I have here, I'm going to divide it into 4. So when I divide mine into 4, I have about 2.3 something. But since that is above 2.25, so I'm going to be making it 2.5. So I'm marking 2.5 here. So that 2.5 is going to be my crotch extension. So at this point, I'm going to come up by 1 inch. And then I'm going to connect from the hip line there to make that 1 inch and then to join the crotch extension. So you can just do it like this. It's very simple. But if you cannot do it this way, you can as well use your curve rule. So you can place your curve rule like this. It's going to give you the same thing. You can see that it's the same thing. So you can just place it like this to make the crotch extension, and then you just chalk it. It's basically the same thing. So what we'll be doing now is to locate the tie line. And the tie line is always like 3 inches below the crotch depth. So I'm going to be marking it here. And then I'm going to be marking a straight line across this point. So this is going to serve as our tie line. Now we are going to be looking for the middle of the tie line. Actually, I'm supposed to locate the middle of the crotch line. So when you are cutting yours, locate the middle of the crotch line, then you connect it to the tie line. But I'm doing this because my tie line and my crotch line is almost the same thing. So but when you are doing yours, do it on the crotch line. So now the tie measurements, we are going to divide it into 2. And when you divide it into 2, you are going to divide it into 2 again, because we want to share it on both sides of this center line on the tie line. So now my tie measurement is 21. Divided by 2 is 10.5. So when I divide by 2 again, I'm going to be having 5.25. So now I'm marking 5.25 on both sides so that we can be evenly shared. So now I'm going to be connecting from the crotch line to the tie line this way. And then on the other end, I'm going to be blending these two upward. So now what we are going to be doing is that usually I'm supposed to connect this straight if I'm making a straight palazzo, but this is not a straight palazzo. So I'm not going to connect the line straight to the hem line. So that is where our 1 inch come in. I'm just going to connect from the tie line there into the 1 inch. So I'm going to connect it slantly into the 1 inch. And here also, I'm supposed to take the measurement here and place it at the hem line and join it straight. But I'm not going to do that. After I'm going to take the measurement here now. So I'm going to mark what I have at the hem line also. But I'm not going to connect straight. I'm going to be adding 1 inch to it. So I'm going to mark 1 inch here, just like I have 1 inch on the other side. So now I'm going to connect from that tie line to meet the 1 inch slantly like this. So you can see the way I'm placing my ruler. So I'm not placing it straight, I'm making it slanty to meet that one additional 1 inch that I added at the hem line. So on the other side too, on the tie line there, I'm also not going to connect this straight down. I'm going to connect it slant into the 1 inch extra that we marked earlier on. So that's what makes it a wide leg palazzo. So I'm just going to continue to slant it towards that 1 inch so that I can enter into the 1 inch. So if you want your palazzo to be wider than this, so you can start to leave more than 1 inch. So the allowance you leave will determine how wide you want your palazzo to be. So let me just rechalk this so that we can see what we really have. And now I'm going to be cutting on the new line, the one that we slanted. So you can see that we did not add any allowance to this front part. We are going to be adding the seam allowance, stitching allowance to the back part, and also the waistline. What we have there is the hip measurement, because we are going to be using an elastic band. So I'm just going to connect this crotch line to the band area, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut it out. So you can see the way I'm cutting that. I'm not cutting it straight, so I'm just following the new chalk line. And I'm going to do the same thing here also. So this is what we have. Now I'm going to be placing this on the back part so as to cut it. So now I have the back part, the fabric for the back folded into two also. So on this side, you can see that I have some allowance on this side. So I make sure that on the hemline I have over 1 inch there. And here at this front part, I have about 3 inches extra there. So watch how we are going to do this now. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is to mark 1.5 inches above here, above the crotch area here on the waistline. You can see that I'm marking above 1.5 inches. So if you're about, this is because I'm not big. So if you are about 40 inches, if your hip measurement is about 40 inches and above, you can use 2 inches. So I'm just going to be connecting this to the waistline here, this way. So I'm going to be connecting this also this way. So on the hip line, I'm going to be marking 2 inches. Then at the crotch line, I'm going to be making a crotch extension at the back also, and I'm going to be using 2.5. Also, if your hip is about 40 inches and above, you can make use of 3 inches. So I'm just going to extend it this way, and then I'm going to be connecting from the hip line to this crotch line. I'm just going to use my free hand like this. And then from the start line there, I'm also going to be connecting it towards the hip line. So I'm just going to make it as curvy as possible. And I can only achieve this with my free hand. So on the tie line, you don't remember that we did not add any allowance at the front part. So we're going to be adding the allowance on this back part. And that's what we are adding here. So I'm adding 2 inches all the way to the hemline, from the tie line all the way to the hemline. So now I'm going to be connecting this together. So I'm going to be connecting from the crotch extension at the back to the tie line, to the allowance at the tie line, and then from this tie line towards the hem area. All the 2 inches points that I marked. So I'm just going to connect it this way. And on the other side also, I'm going to be marking 1 inch. I'm going to be putting 1 inch allowance on the other side. So I'm just going to mark it all the way to the hemline, and I'm also going to be connecting this with a ruler. So I'm just going to extend this line to meet the 1 inch mark, and then I'm connecting the rest up to the hemline. I'm just going to go ahead and cut it out. So this is what we have. Now I'm going to be working on the front part. So this is the 2 inches we set aside for the elastic band, where we are going to be folding the elastic band. So I'm going to be marking 2.5 inches, and my pocket is going to start from here. Then it's going to end at 5.5 inches. I'm going to mark 5.5 inches here, and it's going to stop here. So now I'm going to be marking 1/2 inch all the way to the starting line of the pocket. So you can see the way I'm marking the 5.5 inches. So now I'm going to take my ruler and connect it this way. So this is going to serve as the where our pocket is going to be. So I'm going to be doing this to the second part of the trouser too, of the front part of the trouser. So this is the second part. So I'm going to mark about 4.5 inches from the start line there, and I'm going to mark it just like I did to the first one, and the length of the pocket is going to be 5.5. So now I'm going to mark 1/2 inch all the way to the 5.5 inches length, and then I'm going to be connecting it with a ruler. So I'm just going to connect it this way. So this, I have 4 pieces here. This is what I'm going to be using for the pocket, and the length is 10 inches and the width is 7 inches. So I have 4 pieces here, so I'm going to be using this for the pocket. So now I'm placing the front part side by side so that we can fix the pocket area. So now I'm taking one piece. This I'm going to be placing it underneath. The part facing the front is the wrong side, so I'm placing it at the right side. So that means that the right side is facing the right side. So I'm just going to go ahead now and pin it together, and actually let the pocket start about 1 inch before the start line. You can see that it's 1 inch before the start line, so I'm just going to stitch it. So this second part, so I'm going to be placing it at the right side underneath, so that it can be facing the right side, can be facing the right side. And I'm going to make sure that it starts from like it's about 1 inch above the pocket area, and then I'm also going to pin it together this way. So now I'm going to be stitching it like this, and I'm going to do the same thing to the second side also. So I'm done stitching it. You can see this is the right side and this is the wrong side. So what I'm going to be doing now is to notch these 2 angles. So I'm going to do that with my scissors and make sure that I did not cut through. Now I'm going to be flipping it to the right side. So this is the right side. I'm just going to go ahead and iron this now. And this is what it looks after ironing it, and this is the wrong side. So I'm going to be placing the second part of the pocket to it like this, and I'm going to be pinning it together. So now I don't want to sew it in that rectangle shape, so I'm just going to make a curve like this. See the way I'm placing my chalk, and then I don't want this lower part to be, I just want it to be a bit curved, so I'm curving it again. So I will just be stitching towards this place, and then I'm going to stitch it towards the end there. So you can just go ahead and do this also. So I'm going to be stitching it this way. I'm going to place down like this and stitch it all around. Then I'm going to stitch here and here. Then I'm going to be cutting off the excess. So I already did that. You can see that I've stitched this extra part here and the 1 inch on the upper part. So I also stitch it, and then I stitched on the chalk. So I'm going to be trimming off the excess, and I'm going to be doing the same thing to the second side. So this is it on the right side. So now I'm going to be placing the second part on it, and we are going to be joining the crotch area. So I'm going to pin it together also so that it does not shift, and then I'm going to be joining by 1/2 inch. So this is the back area. I'm also going to be joining the crotch area of the back area with 1/2 inch, and then I'm also going to pin it together to put it in place. So I already joined the front and I've also joined the back. So I'm going to open this crotch area this way, and I'm going to be placing the back on it. I'm going to be joining the crotch area of the front and the back. And see the way I'm putting it together, I split up the seam allowance. And I'm going to be joining it this way and this way. I'm going to be starting from that center. So I'm just going to pin the rest all the way down so that I can put it in place, and it will be very easy for me to stitch. So I'm done stitching it. You can see that the back part is bigger than the front part. So that's how it's meant to be, because we added the allowance at the back area. So I'm just going to pin the side together this way. You can see here we have the pocket and we have about half inch. So if you choose stitch above 1/2 inch here, you are going to be closing up the pocket. So you want to be mindful of the pocket. So you're just going to stitch 1/2 inch at the side. I'm going to be stitching it together on this side and the second side also. So I'm done stitching it, and this is the pocket. You can see how beautiful it looks. So what we are going to be doing now is to fold our waistline. So I'm going to be folding each angle, and I'm going to be folding it by 2 inches. So I'm going to make sure that it's 2 inches because that's what we allocated for it. So I'm going to be pinning it this way. I'm going to measure 2 inches, and I'm going to pin it at different angles so that I can be able to fold it perfectly. So now I'm going to be folding it in by 1/2 inch. So I'm going to fold it in by 1/2 inch, and I'm going to be stitching it all around. So by the time I get back to the starting line, I'm going to leave about 1 inch so that I'll be able to pass in my elastic band. So this is it. I already stitched it down, but I actually have to press it down before I fold it in so that I can fold it successfully. So here I have this elastic band and it's 3 inches shorter than my waistline. I don't want it to be too tight for me, so I just remove 3 inches from my waistline. So now I'm going to be using my safety pin to pass it in through this space that I folded, this elastic band space. So I'm just going to put it in like this, and then I'll keep passing it, keep pushing it until it comes out on the other end. So yeah, I have it out here. So now I'm going to be joining it this way. I'm going to place it on each other, and then I'm going to be stitching it down. I'm going to be stitching it with my sewing machine. So I already stitched with my sewing machine, so I'm just going to find a way like expand the waistline so that the elastic can go into the fabric. And now I'm going to spread this like this and make sure that I stitch it in the neatest way possible. When I'm done, I'm going to be hemming this lower part. So I'm going to be folding 2 inches, and then I'm going to fold again. Then I'm going to be stitching it all the way around, and I'm also going to do the same thing to the other side. So I'm also going to iron it so that it's going to be easy for me to hem, just like I did to the waistline. So this is our palazzo trouser, our elastic band palazzo trouser, our wide leg pants. So you can see how beautiful it looks. So this is the pocket and this is the elastic band. So don't forget to like this video, give your comment and subscribe to this channel if you are yet to do so. Thank you for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.